Do I look at you or that? Which way am I going to be looking? Okay. Okay.
Dude, we're right in the middle of the podcast. You can look wherever you want. We can look there. We can look at each other. We can hold hands if you want. Whatever makes you feel comfortable in this room. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Nailed It podcast. Joined today for the second time. We'll do an update podcast about how James Toler, JT, the Justin Timberlake of house flipping, is killing it in League City. NASA house buyers. You'll have to excuse him. He's in the middle of choking down a peppermint. And James, thank you for coming on the podcast. Total Wealth Academy. You like the new room?
Oh, man. Love it. This is
it's pretty
professional. Perfect.
Yeah. Yeah, we got like reverberating sound buffers. We've got Lego toys everywhere. This is Steve's collection. You know that he does this?
I listened to a seminar he did, and I want to tell him sometime. He had said something about, getting your wife a sports car. You ever hear him say that?
Yeah. Well, I've heard him say two things. One, the best decision or the best thing he's ever bought twice was a pair of boobs.
My wife's getting surgery in 3 weeks.
Oh, my gosh.
To do just that.
Okay.
I just bought her a 2021 Mercedes-Benz. Really, I listened to the two things he said was buy your wife a sports car. How is she supposed to feel sexy in a minivan?
He said that.
He said it. And I sold my minivan, my wife's minivan. I bought her a Mercedes-Benz.
Nailed it. Okay. See you, everybody.
And she's having surgery in 3 weeks.
Okay. Is she excited?
She's extremely excited.
Okay.
I told her that I would get her a mommy's makeover.
Oh,
a while back.
I like this.
So she's our youngest is 4.
Right.
We have a 6-year-old and a 4-year-old. And when Steve said that, I was here. Listen,
you were.
I was here.
You came.
I'm telling you, I was here, and I heard him say those two things.
It was the night that he was talking about goal setting.
I was here.
Yeah.
And those two things made an impression on me. And it's total logical sense.
Right.
How are you supposed to feel sexy? That's totally a great point. And I thought, I'm going to do something about it. I don't know how many people sat in there. I don't know if people had the ability to do it. But when I heard that, I thought, that right there, that makes sense. And we went out and sold our car. I sold her. What happened was, I'll tell you, it's kind of funny. So my mother-in-law,
okay,
has had a 2003 Jetta, 250,000 miles. They live in a town. There's maybe 300 people there. Okay. Very small. And we started talking. We said, you know what? She's never had a new car. My mother-in-law never had a new car. And she said, so why don't we go buy her a new car? So we went out to a couple dealerships, found her a Volkswagen, one of those ones that got this roof. I'm talking brand beautiful car, and bought it. And she started saying, "Hey, there was a Mercedes-Benz dealership right next door to it." And I had already been thinking this happened a little while ago. I'd already been thinking about getting her a new car.
Okay.
Based on Steve. And so we went next door, and I bought her a brand new one. Sure did. And then we went home. She was coming in that weekend, my mother-in-law. We put it in the garage, got the ribbon, came inside. Hey, we got something outside.
This is your wife?
This is my mother-in-law.
Oh, your mother-in-law.
Now, my wife, she already knew. We bought it together.
Okay.
But my mother-in-law got in the garage, got the ribbon. She took it out, put it right in front of the door. Hey, she's never really had something like that, right? I mean, it was when we're in a position to be able to do that. So she came out, she looked at it as a ribbon and everything, and she was like, "Oh, great. No. That's yours."
Wow.
Yeah, it was a really. You think of why are you successful? Why do you want to become successful?
Oh, this is good.
Isn't that one? Think about that. Why? Yeah. To take care of the people that matter most to you in your life. And so she went out, started crying, and no, you didn't do that. Yeah, we did.
Yeah. You seem to be on fire today. Like a quiet fire.
I always am.
No. Like I've seen you sometimes. The last time you came here, you were just more responsive to the questions. Today, it feels like you've got something that you want to get off your brain.
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I've been watching all your lives that you do and how you're bringing people in. I mean,
a lot of the times I do that for either to tell a situation that happened or you got a little better setup here than I do.
I think, yeah, I think it's easier versus the couch, you know, or the couple chairs and you're facing the camera and you really can't see. Like, I don't care what people think. This podcast isn't for them. It's for me. Mm-hmm. I bring people in that I like, that I want to listen to. I don't have to hang out with you every day to know you're a badass, and I want to take and glean maybe 3 or 4 things off of you. You don't have a personal relationship, or I mean, you have a personal relationship with Steve, but you don't hang out with him every day, but you take away.
Well, sure. People, I absorb a really high amount of information. I'm a listener, so most people are talkers. That's not my gift. It's a weird gift to have. You don't think of. I'm a very honest person, and I absorb a higher rate of what's said, and I'm a listener.
Yeah.
So when you say, hey, you're on fire, most of the time if you let me, I'll go off.
Oh yeah.
But my natural state is to listen. I'm just a listener. I'm the guy that sits there but I act.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how many people's listened to him say that and then gone out and done something.
Right.
I literally am doing the number 1 and 2 things he said.
Yeah.
I've never told him that, and he doesn't even know me probably.
But it's hilarious that you the one thing that he said, and then I told you the thing that he also said that I remember was the boobs, and then you got the car, and you had done both.
Yes.
I was not prepared
she's 3
for
weeks.
that.
3 weeks.
Well,
yeah. So
still,
it's scheduled.
Yeah, it's scheduled.
It's already scheduled. It's already done. She did her research. I'm real excited about her. I mean, it's something for her to feel sexy.
Right.
And that's, it's not. It's her job to feel. It's my job to make her feel sexy. But if she doesn't feel sexy, we got a problem in our relationship. Yeah, any relationship. Yeah. And if I've got you in a 1984 Pinto, you're driving around in that, you will not feel sexy. I don't care who you are.
Yeah, Kendra is struggling right now. My fiance. I've been getting texts all day. She's struggling with kids being at home, her being at her full-time job, because she's Roth rich, in reality poor. We just bought one of your notes. She closed on it.
Yep.
Right. She took you out of one of your notes. I'm sure you've got a bunch of stuff you're doing with that money. But for her, this is her first toe dip into, high interest lending.
Yeah.
So
my flips, I convert that over to notes as fast as possible. Yesterday was my biggest day I've ever had.
Ooh, talk to me.
I had 3 notes I created. It was $880,000.
Good for you, brother.
Yeah. $485,000, $170,000, and $220,000.
And from our first podcast, that's where you said that you really were wanting to focus on was to more lending.
Well, the lending requires a skill that I really enjoy, and that's coaching and teaching.
Ooh.
So, if I can help somebody, I also didn't do all my flips 20 years ago, and I understand the process today in today's market.
Right.
And so if I can help somebody do 2, 3, 5, 10 at a time, and really encourage them, not only let them borrow some of the confidence I have and some of the experience and knowledge I have, but I can lend them capital.
Right.
So it's, most lenders lend their money, but they don't lend their knowledge or their faith or their inspiration. They're only lending money.
Right. They're lending with the attitude that I don't care if you go belly up.
That's right.
I just want the property back.
Every loan I've ever made, I've met with them in person, and I've decided if I felt like they could get to I don't want to make one loan. Do you want to do business with one time with somebody?
Yeah, I don't want to just do one flip.
No. Yeah, or say you're training somebody on how to get into wholesaling. Do you want to do one deal? Or do you want to invest your time, your valuable time, with somebody that'll do one deal, or that they can get on fire, they can catch on fire and do 20 deals with you?
Yeah. So how do you make money aside from, let's say, in the flipping or in the coaching? If you're not lending to them, then how do you make money? You don't?
to coaching.
Yeah.
I've never taken a dime to coach. What I do is I decide if they're worthy of my time.
How do you make that decision?
I've always found if someone's growth-minded, in other words, if I give them a book or 2 books and they come back to me and they've read them and they'll say, I give a few books, I say, this is literally what I tell them. Read these books, write down things that inspire you, that catch your attention, let's talk about them. Now, if I never hear from them again, you know
They didn't read.
they didn't read and they're not somebody worth sowing it to. Now, if they come back to me that night and they've read them, you think they're on fire?
Yeah.
So you kind of give hurdle rates to people, and that'll tell you whether they're deserving of your time.
Yeah. That's a little what I just do it differently. My hurdle is my attitude, you know.
Your attitude or theirs?
Mine. I kind of squeeze people emotionally. You've seen it.
Yeah,
You've seen it a lot.
Sure.
I mean, you're easygoing because I can poke fun at you about the swimming pool, right?
Yep.
That's everybody's favorite thing to get onto you about the swimming pool. It just becomes like this running joke
Yes.
on Facebook. But for me, I like to see how strong someone is emotionally, because I know that I don't coach with a lot of lollipops and gumdrops. I'm more of a, what the hell are you thinking? You know?
I'd say, have they grown enough emotionally to handle that? Some people aren't there in this moment, but they would be in a year or two.
I'm not the coach for them, though.
Sure. Yeah,
Right?
on emotional growth.
Well, there's certain people in life that have been through the fire, and you know that they are strong and that they just need a little bit of direction.
Yeah.
That's when I can catch somebody and help them.
I would challenge you to say most people aren't in that place now when you meet them.
I don't think that they are.
Yeah, they're not. So you almost have to get their emotional stability first before you go into knowledge.
But I'm not trying to be your guru.
Well, if you're teaching them, that's one aspect that they have to be. You can't be successful without being emotionally stable. It's impossible.
It is, and it's taken me a long time. I've been listening to David Goggins' "You Can't Hurt Me."
Well, that's one of my favorite books.
Yeah,
Callousing the Mind.
Yeah, callousing the mind, and kind of I get him because I've gone through that abusive relationship with a father, not having a mom in high school, not having a dad in high school, being kicked out. Living on your own. I mean, it's tough. So I don't know how to nurture a soft mind, but I see a lot of sensitive ninny babies. He calls them poopy diapers.
Yeah.
I call them titty babies.
Sure. Yeah.
I see a lot of titty babies on Facebook. They're soft as fuck.
I'd agree.
I mean, it is like you have an ability to cheerlead somebody into success.
I think that for someone to accept truth, you have to have a level of trust in that relationship. So you don't deserve to speak truth into somebody's life until you have a strong enough relationship, because then they'll accept it. All they do is resent you for your every bit of truth that you give.
Yeah.
I'm not interested in creating resentment for myself. I'm interested in change.
Gotcha.
And so if I'm going to be truthful with somebody, we have to be at a level of trust that takes time. So that's what I'm working on, is the trust of our relationship. And then when that trust is built to a certain point, then I'm going to hit you with truth. If you don't accept the truth, then I'm not interested in working with you.
Yeah.
But you can't be foolish enough to think that people can handle the truth without the relationship strength and trust built in that relationship. No one will do that. All they'll do is resent you. They'll say, this guy's an ass. He's right. Now, if they're smart, they'll say he's right, but they'll still resent you. Now, what good is that to you, though? What good is it for you to be the truth bearer and everybody hates you?
Yeah. And that is a reality that I recently dealt with. I'm laying in bed. Someone close to us died. And I'm thinking to myself, she was a hard woman. there's like 10, 15 people at her funeral. And I'm thinking to myself, man, I'm probably only going to have like a handful of people at my funeral. Because so I posted this thing on Facebook. It was like, you all love my truth until my truth comes to you.
Can I say something on that?
Yeah, go for it.
This is actually, I read a lot. I read a whole lot.
Yeah.
People kind of think of me as an investor and flipper and all that, but I consider myself more of a philosopher.
Okay.
I'm a deep thinker and I'm real reserved. I have a lot of inner strength, that kind of plays itself into real estate. But I would say I'm more of a thinker than I am, maybe a little more than most people.
I feel like your sword is really sharp.
Yeah.
And I don't think that you swing it often, but when you do, it cuts a lot.
Sure it does.
Yeah.
So one of the things that really impacted me, and there was this idea in this book I read one time. He said, this is a morbid thought, but think about, you're in your casket. What are they saying? Who's there, for one?
Yeah.
And what are they saying about you? And the idea was, you want people to say, when I met that guy right there, everything changed. Isn't that a good, interesting thought? When I met that guy, he's dead now, but when I met him, that's when everything changed for me.
Yeah.
Now, that's what you want people to say. It was that guy right there. Now, whether it was life, whether it was finances, whether it was emotional stability or mental sharpness, maybe they gave me a thought. There was some thought they gave me. I never thought. My perspective shifted a little bit. It was just that one little simple thought. And it helped me change my reality. Now, that's the type of impact you want to have in people's lives, I believe. Like Steve, when he told me those two things, that is literally changing my life. Get a car, get a sports car, get her boobs. No, but I mean, think about those two little ideas. When he's in his casket, I'll be at his wedding. He doesn't even know me.
Right.
He doesn't know me. But when he's in his casket, I'll be there and I'll say, you know what? He gave me two really good thoughts. He won't even know me.
How has it changed your relationship with Maggie?
I think she sees me as interested in what matters to her.
Ooh. Do you think that she didn't before that?
I think there's a display of action that has to happen. Words only matter to a point. But when I say I'm going to have you in a sexy car because I think it's important to you. And it's just a revelation, it's not a thought I've never had. Have you?
Right.
I mean, we only know so much based off, what we're thinking about, our influences and friends so you can only act on what you're aware of. So as your awareness grows a little bit, you're capable of grasping thoughts that you didn't have before.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's not no judgment against me. It's on me to actually get in those rooms. Get in those seminars to think those thoughts.
One to piggyback on that thought, one thing that I love about Brian Burr is anytime that when I invited him here, he was like, "Oh, I'm going to bring Steve a book because I know he's a book collector.
Yep.
He's a book nerd like him." Brian has like this thoughtfulness that kind of extends beyond the meeting to where you kind of remember, right? Yep. And I know you most of the time when anyone gets together with you, or it seems like, there's a epiphany post, like a video that's a leaving thought that I want to leave this meeting with, right? Mm-hmm. And you bring these people on that may or may not have any influence in the world or whatever, but you get to glean a little bit about where they're going through the meeting with you, sure. Like what just happened. Yeah. And so, yeah, I mean, it's incredible. But, I've always struggled with when you start with nothing, you have a poor mindset.
Yeah. I grew up in an 800 square foot house, three bedrooms, one bath, two sisters, a brother, two parents.
Yeah.
800 square. I had to convert our dining room into a bedroom.
Right.
So I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
I grew up with nothing.
Right. So that poor mindset, it takes a while to stop thinking, okay, I need a Groupon my way through life, right? Where, hey, I can go ahead and just I can go to the Mercedes-Benz dealership in the middle of an inflationary market where I'm probably going to pay more for this car, but what I'm going to get out of it is way more beneficial than the money that I'm putting into it. And I think that's what you're seeing, is that it doesn't matter what it costs. What does it cost me not to do that? Yeah. And with Kendra moving in, you know, my gift to blending the family was, you know, most people are like, hey, what you really need to do, we've heard this thought from almost everybody. Our advice to you is to sell the house and to buy a joint house. So then it's no one's house. You know, we're moving into their house, their rooms, right? So what I did was I said, I'm going to put a swimming pool in the backyard, and then it'll be our backyard, right? Our pool. So in doing that, I have seen, like what you're talking about, she just feels relaxed when she comes home. She has something to look forward to. It doesn't matter how many people are there because we're already of the anticipation. Everybody's going to be there. We've got extra kids coming in from next door. We've got other people coming in. We've got visitors. You already assume that the house is going to be full. It's a different mindset.
Sure.
Because you know the backyard now is full of life.
Yes.
And the house is full of positive life. So that mindset, I mean, it took me to scratch that first $12,000 check just to move Earth. Yeah. That was a trip, man. It was like, oh man, I usually don't do this out of my own personal pocketbook.
Yeah.
But breaking that poor mindset, it's been a while. Like the first 2 trips that we went on to Mexico, I got to go Southwest Airlines. I'm going to wait for the perfect day. I'm like over there, like, you know, looking at their calendar and when the price drops, you know. Instead, this last time I went, I was just like, fuck it. I'm going to go to Nobu in Cabo, and I'm going from this day to this day, and I don't care how much it costs.
What's all those stocks you're coming off for you?
Oh, God, no. You know what it was? It's lumber prices went up, and all my points on Home Depot. I mean, my whole backyard, all my landscaping is through my Home Depot points. I bought a gravity fed charcoal grill, $600. And my Home Depot was like, oh, we know you're moving into your new house, and we want to give you a gift, so we're gonna. The manager said to take $200 off of your grill. And I had gotten like, you know, some, whatever it is, like this bonus little gift card, right? So I used the gift card and I got like this amazing grill out of it. You know, it's just like, they talk about the rich getting richer. It's because they know how to use like points or rewards or other people's money.
Sure.
Right?
Relationships. Finding opportunities and then bringing them to people with money.
Yeah. I mean, the reason why I call you here to come back is just because being around you is, I think it's fruitful. You just see the world. I view you as you have the child's playground mindset. A 5-year-old doesn't look at a Oriental baby or a black 5-year-old, have you ever seen kids when they go into kindergarten for the first time? They don't look and go, oh, I'm only going to hang out with white people. I'm only going to hang out with people of my race. They just look for the first person to love, and then they just go, and that's their best friend.
Yeah, I've started playing golf recently.
Okay.
And I went out there with some buddies of mine, and I work a lot. A lot, every day I'm on it. And we were out playing. It's beautiful. I don't know if you go golfing at all. But,
of course.
But I was real slow.
Ooh.
Like they were always way ahead of me, and I was going real. And they were like, "Hey man, is your golf course not work? Or is your golf cart something wrong with it?" I say, "No. I'm just taking all this in. Look, I'm on it all the time. I'm just out here enjoying nature, just trying to see it for what it is and be in the moment."
Yeah.
Because the second I leave here, I'm going to be right on it again. Appointments and deals and people and let me just take this. You know, it was just kind of funny. They're like, man, something's got to be wrong with you. You're going so slow.
Yeah. I'm going to tell you something that is funny like that. So Kendra had never been to Astros game before. Her first Astros game, or actually, her first Astros game, we had Yordan Alvarez, Springer, Bregman, Altuve, and Michael Brantley all hit home runs.
Oh, man.
By the third inning.
Jeez.
The game ended up being like 13-3. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
In the third inning, she says, is it almost over yet? I go, no, we still got like 6 more innings. And she goes, I don't think I can stand this. It's boring. Okay. So then playoff time comes around. And so now we're, in the middle of, the beginning of October, and we're like 1 game away from the World Series. And this is the Game 7 against the Yankees, where Altuve hits the home run to end the game.
Yep.
The beginning of the game, we go in, and she sees Tasty Waves from Carbach. She's like, oh, I love Tasty Waves. I want a big Tasty Waves. So we get a big Tasty Waves. Then she, after we finish that one, she wants another one. I wasn't drinking at all because we had just, like, a week ago, I was in another game, and I was like, I had way too much to drink. I was not going to drink. So I was babysitting that night. And, I've got Brian with me. I've got Tommy and Greg and Chelsea, and we're all there. So I'm just like, oh, my gosh. So she is like talking up next to my ear and kissing my cheek and being really affectionate. And I'm like, stop. We're in the middle of a game. And today I am sad because I want that day back, because I missed that day. I missed that time when it was so new and everything was so rosy, and you couldn't wait to just see the person, and just like tell them all the gushy things, right? And I think life sometimes happens and it kind of takes away your fire, your lust for each other. Or your lust for, I've been in a resented relationship with flipping for like the last year because I lost, Ryan just sent me our K1. We lost like 60 grand as a business that last year. We were 3 months away from a life-changing deal. Like the house that we sold that we took $100,000 discount on HAR, if we just would have waited 3 more months, the pandemic, we freaked out. The pandemic, right?
Yep.
No one can show houses. We've got to go ahead and do it now. We took a haircut. And then all of a sudden, there's nothing. There's no inventory. And people are buying. And so we calculated wrong. And so now I'm back to, you know what? I'm just going to do it on my own again. I'm just going to go back and do it on my own.
I wholesaled. There was one house in particular. Because of that same situation, I didn't want to flip it because I didn't know what was going to happen. And wholesale, I was going to make maybe $10,000 or something like that. And they put up the earnest money. I went to sign, and they didn't show up. They never showed up. So I ended up keeping it. There's the middle of COVID, right? No one knows what's going to happen. This was in League City.
Yeah.
It's a real good area. I got it for $105,000, and I put probably about $30,000 in it, something like that. Ended up getting $215,000.
Wow.
Yeah, but because he kind of backed out on me. I'll take his earnest money and I'll go ahead and do it, But I didn't want it because I'm seeing the same things you're seeing, right? I mean, who knows what's going to happen? But then we got out of all that, and then it just went crazy, and then I ended up with multiple offers and ended up making, spent $60,000 on it.
My first 2 or 3 custom houses that I built were great. And these last 2 that I'm doing have just been like testing every bit of patience that I have.
Yeah.
I have, it's like going to a doctor and you're sitting there telling the doctor all about what you learned on WebMD about what's wrong with
homeowners? The homeowners?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's just like, I got the one today was, hey, we noticed on the sheathing that when you put the OSB up there, it was right up next to each other. Shouldn't it be like a 1/8 inch gap so that it can expand and contract? And I'm like, listen, the city of Houston came out and they did an inspection on it, and they looked at every piece that I put up there, and they were okay with it. Okay, like, it's good. I'm just telling you, like, we're worried about some things that don't need to be worried about. Your house is going to breathe. It's going to be just fine. Everything's good. Like, there's, I just don't get it. It's when you're building your own personal house, I think you just are like, I don't know, you miser every detail.
That's emotional.
Yeah.
That's what I like about flipping is none of it's emotion. It's all logical.
Well, for you.
For me, it is, yeah.
Well, when you're buying it and when you're flipping it, I call it real estate.
Okay.
But when you finish it, you stage it, you put it on the market, it becomes feel estate.
Sure.
You look at it as numbers and tile and brick and lumber. I look at it as design and a lifetime and a legacy, and that is the struggle, the internal struggle that I have is like, do I leave something behind that my friends in Facebook are going to adore, or do I leave something behind that I get to go to Mexico with? Right?
I took a Jason Bibles approach. That's when I first started this stuff. That's, it's Houston house buyers type thing.
Yeah.
It was more of a thinking of it like a business.
Yeah.
And there's margin, there's marketing, there's sales. I run it like a business. I have a project manager. I have an accountant, and so every phase of it, I have contractors that I use over and over again. And I'm almost out of the picture for these last couple of deals. I did a deal. This is the first time I've ever done this. I didn't go on the appointment. I had a salesperson go on an appointment. I had a project manager go behind them. I brought the money.
And then you didn't go
I
to it
never
at
went.
all.
I never saw the property once.
And you sold it?
And I sold it. So
Wow.
I closed. I bought it with private money, and then I closed on it, and I never saw it. That was the first one I've ever done where I was not involved one bit of it.
So what's changed in the last since we did the first podcast?
What's changed in my business?
Mm-hmm.
You know that phrase, you want to work on your business, not in your business.
Mm-hmm.
Does that sound good?
Oh, man.
Or are you going to do something about it?
Right.
So you do enough of these, you realize people, having the right people, looking for the right people. I would say your ability to lead and train plays a big role in all that. So a lot of it's just a focus. Once you start focusing on what you want and you're working your vision, just like when I sat in there with Steve, he said those two things, well, it hit my mind. Now, how do I make that a reality? Now, Maggie didn't just say, oh, yeah, you want boobs on me, let's do it. Didn't work, just so you kind of work in that.
Right.
You
have to put the seed in, and you got to water it.
Well, it's the same with working on your business, right? You got a seed there. I mean, it sounds good, but you got to have the right people in place. You got to have trustworthy people. There's all kinds of things there.
Well, it took us forever to close the note with you.
Sure, yeah.
And during that time, I mean, Kendra was all on board. Then she was, I'm really not, maybe this is a sign from God. I'm like, maybe this is just a sign that we're in the middle of coronavirus and people are working at home and there's an email that's lost or some paperwork that's lost. Maybe it has nothing to do with God.
One of the advantages of doing, 14, 15 flips at a time and I've got 34 loans out right now, total.
Wow.
Yeah, so I don't care about one deal.
34, oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so that particular deal, it doesn't matter to me whether it takes a year, a month or 2 months. I have so much going on, I don't really care about one individual deal. And I see that all the time with wholesalers and flippers, and they get caught up on one deal because they're doing one deal. That's one of the advantages of doing multiple deals is no one deal matters in the end. No one loan necessarily matters. No one flip matters. because you have so many. There's risk. The one, you have more jobs for your contractors, so you're keeping everybody busy. You're actually spreading your risk out into different price points, different areas. I always tell people there's an advantage to doing a lot. Not mind you, the money. Of course, there's way more money in doing. But
so 34 deals. What do you think the time span is until they go from deal funded to deal done? When will you be out of those 34?
Well, I have them out now. That's not. Yeah, I have them. They're out as we speak.
Well,
so yeah. When will they close?
Yeah. When will you be on to the next set of 34?
Well, I'm going. I mean, I've been as fast as they come. I closed one this morning. I don't know if you saw on Facebook. We just I closed another one before I came here. So, there's no end. I don't think like that. Remember that one time we were with Jason Bible.
D&T?
And y'all said, how many deals you do?
You were like 12 to 15.
I couldn't even tell you because I just buy.
Yeah.
As far as in this moment, typically I have deals come in through one way or the other, and I'm just taking the private money and just I'm going along.
So people wonder why, or I wondered why do you do all these trainings, and then I realized it. You're the smartest guy out there.
Well, I love teaching.
Yeah, James, you're smart because you could either go pay for advertising for your own personal wholesale deals, or you can become the teacher and say, hey, I've got enough bait for everybody. You come to me, I'll help it hook it on and reel it in and fillet it. You are the guy.
There's no doubt, but I look at that a little differently.
Yeah.
The person that's going to get very wealthy doing this is the person that can bring the most value to the transaction.
100%.
And whether that's knowledge, whether that's capital, whether that's contractors, whether it's deal flow. So it's all the above. So that's what I'm doing, is making myself invaluable inside of a transaction. And the more valuable I get, the more money I'll make.
The more things that you can control in that situation. That's the reason why I brought up that I extended myself to swimming pools. Mm-hmm. No one wants to go through building a house for a year with someone that they trust and then go and build a swimming pool with someone they don't.
Oh, yeah. No, exactly. That's brilliant. Exactly.
They want to just kind of follow that process through, and they want to beat your ass the whole time.
Well, margins on pools too are really good.
Man, the margins are,
that's
probably where like 50%.
Yeah. Probably where you'd make a lot of money. So it's smart. It's
you
just
do.
good business.
It's a good add-on. It's a good add-on. You're pandemic-proofing someone's backyard. You're giving them, and it's just another thing that I normally was just going to just like pass off to somebody else. Now I just make a little bit off of that.
Let me speak to that, though. I spend a lot of time reading. Now, nobody tells me to do that. Now, what good is it to read and learn and grow if you can't give it away? I'm not an island.
Right.
So I enjoy learning to add more value to others in some way. It might be real estate. It might be, Steve. Like I said, Stephen said that that was a marriage advice, but you have all kinds of different. I don't want to just add value in real estate.
Yeah.
Do you agree with that?
You want to add value to people's lives.
Lives, right? So I'm not just flipping houses at that point. I'm almost
flipping lives.
And that's a deeper purpose.
Yeah.
I don't want to be known as just a real estate guy. I think that you're a failure, in my opinion, if you're just that.
You remember what I called you yesterday?
Tell me something about the internet.
No, I said you're the Joel Osteen of house flipping.
There you go. The preacher of real estate. There you go.
No, not the preacher of real estate. I think the way that Joel teaches is like everybody can be blessed.
Yeah.
Just come, right?
Yeah.
Jesus becomes very much an asset. Like, what's everybody's biggest pain point? Usually it's financial, right? And so he makes it out to where I'm sure everyone really knows that life isn't always going to be roses.
Well, heck no.
And but if you're with somebody who just is constantly rosy, you can't help but smell the roses. And you've met these people. I know that you have. You've met these people that no matter what they do, like you will go and meet with them. You'll try to help them out. You see that they got like a ton of potential, but it doesn't matter. There's always something negative that happens in their life. So I got this one guy. He's a great guy. Very talented, very hard worker. His name's David. And David came to me, and I saw him at Home Depot. And I was like, David, I was like, what are you doing? Oh, I'm just doing this piecework over here for somebody, blah, 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 blah. I said, hey, I need help. I need you to come work for me. First couple of weeks, he shows up 3 times a week. And then it was like, my car broke. I got a flat tire. My wife got sick. I got sick. I drank too much the night before. So I gave him a nickname. Tres Dias Trabajo. 3-day work. That's all he works, right? Yep. And so since I gave him that nickname, he does nothing now but always show up every day on time, ready to work. He says, I want to eliminate that nickname.
So you set expectations. You set standards in his life. Probably nobody's ever done that.
Right. And I don't, going back to what you said that some people, let's talk about it in terms that we both know very well. Jesus never looked at somebody and didn't pop him in the face. And he did not have anything other than the credibility to do it. He didn't spend a whole lot of time with people. He went to the woman at the well. He said, hey, would you like water where you will never have to drink? Mm-hmm. He didn't ask her and build a relationship and then pop her in the face. He just popped her in the face. And Jesus always had a way with that. Zacchaeus, come down from there. I'm going to your house. Whenever he saw the Pharisees and they would come over and they would constantly... What about when he walked into the synagogue and they were selling stuff and he just goes and flips tables over? I think that the credibility that you have with people, I think it extends past you, like that. The thought of James Toler goes beyond James Toler. Let me before you even arrive.
So one thing kind of popped in my head.
Okay,
it was all for who Jesus was that he didn't have to say.
Yes.
Which is a much deeper thing there.
Yeah.
It was who he was, spoke more than who he was, or what he had to say. I think a lot of people have to say, because they're not quite him.
Right.
But I mean, that's a certain thought there, your reputation. And we went to Lake Charles this weekend, and we were on the roulette table, and I had some guy walk up to me and goes, "Man, are you James?" I was with Maggie, and he goes, "Are you James Toler?" Just randomly. I'm talking about completely random. It kind of freaked Maggie out. She was like, I was like, "Yeah, I am." "Oh man, I've been following you." And
it's weird, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very weird. It's very
weird.
And Maggie doesn't know what, she's a CPA. She doesn't know what to think of that, and I don't really know what to think of that, to be honest with you. But just somebody randomly in another state walking up to you and knowing who you are. That's kind of odd.
Have you ever heard the story about how Brian Burr and I met?
No.
My car was broke down, or a flat tire. Brian was fixing Chelsea's BMW, flat tire. We were at Discount Tire over there off of 59 by Kirby. And I see a guy in scrubs, as he was still working at the hospital. Yeah. And so I go, "Hey, how long did they tell you your car was going to be?" I mean, we both finished. Like, we're both in the parking lot. We both finished with each other's guys. And I see him walking towards the door and say, "Hey," because I'm like, this guy's a doctor. He's got money. I had 2 deals that I was closing in the Heights. I needed money.
Private lender.
Right? So I said, "Hey, how long?" And he said, "Oh, they told me an hour and a half." I said, "Let's go next door. Let's go eat lunch next door." Next door was an Olive Garden. We walk next door to the Olive Garden. We sit at the bar, and he goes, So like we're 15 minutes into it, and I asked him what he did. You know, I was getting to know him, and he was telling me, and then he hit me, and he said, "You're Curtis Warden, aren't you?" I said, "Yes." He goes, "Yeah, I've been following you. I went to one of your deals that you spoke at the Noble Mortgage event over at City Center."
Yeah.
I was like, "You did?" Then I got freaked out. Then I didn't want to see that dude for like another, like he paid for my meal. And I was like, this guy's a creeper, man. Like, how did he know that I was here? Then he starts showing up at every event that I go to. And do you know that Chelsea told me and Kendra like 2 weeks ago that what they would do is they would drive around St. Arles Brewery until they found my truck, and then they would go inside. And he became familiar with me. And then he told me, "I'll just go push your cart at Home Depot and bring your guys tacos every morning if you'll just train me." I said, "Okay." He became my best friend after that.
Oh, Brian's awesome. One of my favorite people in real estate.
He's one of my favorite people too. He has this deal that he tells people. He goes, "Hey, listen, I'm going to introduce you to Curtis. The first 5 minutes are going to be really tough." He's going to tell you as it is. He's going to tell you what you don't want, but he's going to be real with you.
You know, one thing, Curtis, see, I don't need
the
relationship to a certain degree to appreciate and listen to what you tell me. That's an emotional level I think we're all at, right? I will hear what you say, and if it's logical and practical, I don't care if I hate you or not. It doesn't really matter yet. You know, that's the way I think now. If you say something and it makes sense, I'll accept it. I don't really care about our relationship. But I would say most people aren't that way. Would you agree?
Oh, man. I think we began this with it. It really sucks because, like I said before, I bring you onto the podcast because it's the only time I get to have a real talk with you uninterrupted. And we get to debrief some stuff.
I probably got about 15 calls that
I've heard it. I've heard it.
Yeah, I typically have 70, 80 calls a day.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I mean, I work every day to make my phone ring.
I'm working every day now so that my phone doesn't.
Well,
I don't want my phone to ring.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get to that point where everything's taken care of behind the scenes, and I just get to be free in my backyard and sitting in the swimming pool.
Well, that's the life.
Unfortunately, it's not that way.
When I get to $50 million, then maybe I'll do it.
Is that how you define success?
No, success is really having a goal, having a growth plan, and every day getting a little closer to, developing the potential inside of us and helping others reach their potential. I think that's more success to me. I gave you a story. I think it's worth thinking about because I think it really answers that question. I had a deal. This guy came to me. He was a contractor, and he had never flipped a house. But he'd been thinking about it, like everybody, right? I'm sure somebody gets wind of you do flipping. I'd same way. Well, this contractor had heard a story about me, and another guy had said, "Hey, this guy might help you. One, he might finance it, but he could help you if you So he called me. I said, "Look, I don't loan money to anybody I haven't met. So first thing we're doing is going to meet, and I'm going to get a feel for you, and you can get a feel for me, because the worst thing would be you'd put up your earnest money and then I disappear. I've heard of that.
Oh yeah.
Just private lenders disappear, freaking out. So you need to get to know me too, just so you feel comfortable." So we meet, and the guy, everything he owned was in cash. A lot of the Hispanics are that way. They don't really get loans. It's kind of not their culture.
It's not.
Yeah, it's
they don't want to owe anybody anything.
They don't want to owe, and that's a good thought generally, especially with credit cards or high interest. And so he said, "Man, I've got a problem with getting a loan." And so we kind of worked through that, right? This is an investment. You're allocating capital to make money. You're going to use your skill set to make money. Anyway, so he gets this deal. I like him. Real good guy. He ends up picking it up for $55,000. And I told him it was worth around $155,000. So he got in there and worked himself with his crew at cost, and he cost him about $40,000. I loaned him $90. Right, it was a $90,000. He was in it for $90 total because his costs were so low.
Right.
Yeah, I thought it was worth around $155, $160. He got $188.
Wow.
$188. This is a guy, and I told him, I said, look, think about this for 1 second. This is an interesting thought. If I would buy this property and you worked for me, you might have made $5,000, $6,000. You would have done the work yourself just as you did. You made $70,000 doing the same exact thing. That kind of amazing thought. Doing the same time, same everything, same labor. You went from $5,000 to $70,000. Why are you doing? Because why are you not?
Yeah.
That was my thought originally to him. I was like, picture it. Because he didn't want to do it. It was a smoking deal. But I was like, would you rather do the same thing, make $5,000, or make $70,000?
And I'm at the reverse stage. So now, instead of making 60 or 100, I'm just doing the same work, but I'm having no liability. I charge my monthly fee for general contracting, and then I just go and manage all the jobs.
Well, it's from a risk perspective, yeah, you're not taking any risk.
I'm just leveraging my knowledge.
A lot of it comes down to the deal, right? I mean, if you find a deal, there's $200,000 in equity, you'll probably do it.
I'm closing on a deal right now with Evan and Brian, and it's 1.3 in lending, and it's worth 1.7. It's 13,000 square feet in the Heights.
So it really comes down to inventories at record lows. It's hard to find houses. That's what a lot of that comes down to. This is just a deal that he had found, and not everyone's like that,
Nope,
But that was a really good deal. But anyway, it's kind of interesting to think.
Yeah.
You say success. What is success? Look, I could have told him, no, you shouldn't do this,
and taken it
myself.
Yeah.
Easy. Now, what would $70,000? It would have cost me more. The rehab would have cost me more than him.
She might have made like 40.
Yeah, probably 40, 45, something like that. Wouldn't have changed my life one bit.
But it changed his.
That's right. That's success.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's success. In my opinion, helping people get to that point where they can really change. He went into that deal with about $18,000 of working capital. I loaned the full amount, so I loaned $90,000. So he paid his interest payments, he paid his points and everything. So he pretty much tripled his working capital in one deal.
I can't wait to go back and re-listen to this podcast. It's going to be a good one.
Okay. But it's just fascinating to think about, how flipping and real estate itself can really change. You just said financially, a lot of people struggle that way.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting to talk somebody into something
that they are scared of.
That they're scared of. And so you're kind of, like I said earlier, you're kind of borrowing some of my, I'm coming here and I'm very confident because I've done so many. So you're almost going over that ledge, not for yourself, because you wouldn't do it yourself, but you're doing it for me and the trust you have in me.
Right.
And then you do a deal like that, and guess what he did? He jumped right into another one.
That's right.
Immediately.
So what do you want to leave people with today? What is your golden thought that you think people should just be, cling to? I think you've had a couple of really good ones. Like you led off with a good one.
I think that one of my favorite thoughts is, you can have anything you want as long as you help enough people get what they want. Mm-hmm. I think, do you take that? Does it sound good?
Right.
So we can come up here and come up with all these thoughts and ideas that sound good. Do you agree with that?
Oh, yeah.
Stuff that sounds good. But is that a part of your core being? Has that thoroughly saturated your subconscious mind to the point that you're operating on a non-conscious level? That's a deeper thing, much deeper there, where you've worked, because naturally we're all selfish. Do you agree? I mean, everybody's selfish. Yeah, everybody's selfish.
Yeah.
So it's a survival instinct. So could you meet that person, Hispanic contractor, and not take that yourself.
Yeah, 100%.
How many people would have done that?
I met this guy. He's amazing. Makes awesome, like all these awesome videos. He does great woodworking, and now he's kind of deviated and gone on to picking stocks and stuff like. I mean, he's all over the board, right? All over the board. And I met the guy, and I said, "Hey, I think that you should come and do one of our projects." And he was like, "I don't know, how much you gonna pay?" And I said, "Well, here's how much I pay per day." And he goes, "Oh man, that's so cheap. I'm not going to do that. He'd rather charge more and work 1 week, right, and then be struggling for the next 3, than to have consistent work where you show him over 4 weeks, here's how much you would pay. But not only that, but you're working with me, and then I get to help you." My guy that's been with me for 6 years, his name's Morrow. He owns 7 rent houses. We have helped him. We lend him money. We've helped him find deals. I give him paint colors, design choices. I help him as much as he needs. You know why? Because the dude's like family. I know his kids. I've been to his house. I've been to his birthdays. I've been to his anniversary parties. I've been to his wife's birthdays. Brian and I try to invest in those guys that do our houses, because those are the people that are going to make us successful. So the people who know me like real well are the guys that work for me on a daily basis. The people who don't know me are the people who just see me through a post or an interaction. And you always will interpret, like, I can say one thing to you over text message and you hear it differently than the person who already kind of has a mindset about a person. They will hear it a different way. And it could just be like,
well, are they a victim? Yeah, if you're a victim and everybody's out to get you, you're going to take that truth.
Well, and it doesn't have to be it could just be he's out to get everybody. Yeah, he's angry, or she's this, or she's that.
Well, I take it as you care enough to give your experience, and you've got a long life of experiences, good and bad. I mean, you've done a lot of amazing things. Yeah. So you're willing to give up the most valuable thing you have, your time, to hone in on a conversation that, does it benefit you? No, right? I mean,
but it benefits them.
It should. That's the point. So you're doing it to benefit somebody else. Now, is it too real? Well, I mean, that's, to someone like me, I'll accept what you say. I'll listen to you. Yeah. But I would say most people aren't, like I said, emotionally capable of doing that. They're gonna resent you. Yeah. For your realness.
And that's you
had told me one time too. You said, you gotta have haters.
You do.
And I'm bad about that.
Your haters.
Nobody hates me.
Oh, James, give it time, man. Give it time.
I'm just kidding. I think I stand for things, and what I do like about it is, I am a Christian man, and people hate. People are going to resent me just for that aspect. I don't try to hide any of that stuff. So
it's hard to hate you.
Yeah, I'm going to stand for what I stand for. Yeah, and it'll play where it plays out. I'm not worried about it. I'm just going to be me. Yeah, and you take it as it is. But
well, man, dude, you brought the thunder today. This was good. We talked a little bit about life. Talked a little bit about what I thought your golden thought of the day was when you hear a good idea, implement.
Yeah. Well, that's all we are, is a collection of ideas. No one person has a monopoly on all good ideas.
And no one person has any original idea. No. It's all someone else's thought.
So why should I think that I can come up with them all? I can't. So if I can pick up ideas from you or Steve, or even, maybe people are in a place I don't want to be at. Mm-hmm. You're picking up things of how to avoid calamity.
I got to get out of my own way sometimes.
We all do.
But some of us are better at it than others. I'm like a boomerang. I throw shit out and it just comes right back and tries to whack me in the face.
Well, that's a universal law.
Yeah.
When I helped that contractor make $70,000, the boomerang that I was throwing out was what? Love, caring, mentorship.
And it comes right back to you.
Well, sure it does. And he'll go on to do real well. He does very good work. But the boomerang, which you throw out, you have to make sure that you start with that end in mind, with that, that casket you're in. Start thinking about who's going to show up at my. That's a thought that drives me, honestly.
It's starting to drive me too.
Who will be there? Did they say, "Hey, this guy was an asshole," and I'm spitting on his grave? Or are people down the road coming to your grave site with flowers because they said, "Man, this guy right here helped me," and he did it. The guy that I'd worked with there, he would say, "James helped me get going, and now I'm a millionaire because of one deal he didn't snake me on."
Yeah.
Now, he might not know that or think about it, but that's the truth. And he made it happen. He gave me the confidence and gave me the money. That's the type of legacy I think you can be proud of, and, I think that's something to think about.
Yeah. Legacy. I think that's going to be the name of this podcast today. Leaving a legacy.
Leaving a legacy. Remember, Jesus didn't have to say a lot because of who he was. Who you are is your legacy.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't it? Look, hey, that guy right there, yeah, you don't have to say a whole lot.
If you want a good book, it's an old book.
Okay.
Read Jesus Christ CEO.
Okay.
Have you ever heard of that?
No.
I read that early on in my. I went to school to be a preacher, right?
No, I didn't know that.
You didn't. Yeah. So I graduated from Harding University.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. So I have a biblical degree, minor in biblical studies. So I took like principles of parables 1 and 2, Old Testament 1 and 2. I mean, it's like, yeah, I've been there. I used to be a camp counselor at the end of every summer. I was a camp counselor at this place called Wildwood. It's a deal where kids would come for 10 days. And I was the group leader. And as the group leader, you had to preach. You had to preach every night. So you come up with these things. I used to have to lead songs too. I mean, when you're so, like you were saying, I'm sure the first time that you did this, public speaking thing, it probably didn't go as smooth as it does now. It's like
Went horrible.
Yeah. I see you whenever you get up and you just like, I'm James Toler with NASA House Buyers, and this person talks, and then we were just sitting here thinking, and you roll right into it, and you have pauses, you have inflection points, you have a start, and then you have a nice little bow, and you wrap it up. That takes a while to learn, that part of speaking. Silence makes the biggest endpoint, or the biggest point for you is right after you talk, and you end that silence. It's also something that's the most crippling for someone when they get up on stage. First time I ever got up on stage, I tried to go 30 seconds without talking. And the point was it to be a parable about how uncomfortable it must have been. So I was doing a deal where I was talking about being on the cross. This was Easter Sunday. And I just got up there and I was quiet for 30 seconds. And you could see people just squirm. I'm just staring at them, right? I was going to go for a minute.
Yeah.
And I couldn't do it. Yeah. So then that's how I led into the sermon. But how uncomfortable do you think it was for Jesus?
Wow.
That uncomfortability, and yeah, I mean, you learn something about someone every day. I can't believe that you didn't know that. Yeah, no, man.
Well, I told Joel Osteen's my cousin. I told you that.
No,
okay,
you told me that.
Yeah. Okay. I thought about, I don't know, maybe down the road. I do 3 Bible studies a week. Did you know that?
I do know that you do Bible studies.
Yeah.
Yes,
So every Monday at 8:00, I do one at Keller Williams.
Okay.
from 8 to 9, and then from 9 to 10, I go to my office and I do another one. And then from 10 to 11, we do our investor meeting. Every Friday from 9 to 10, I do another Bible study. Every week I do 3. That's just to keep my mind in the Word, keep our group in the Word. That to me is important.
Yeah.
And it might not be important to everybody, but to me it is. And it's not. There's nothing there. I don't take an offering or something. It's just it's just there.
You're not passing the plate.
No. But I'll have 15 people, 20 people sometimes in this little, just a little Bible study.
Yeah, that's good.
It's something important to me. I don't go around telling everybody that, but it's something you should be doing more than just real estate.
Yeah,
and I guess that gets into legacy, and make a bigger impact than just money.
When's the last time you were on the water in your boat?
Last summer. Yeah, I need to get out.
You do. That's shocking to me right now.
Yeah, I've just been too busy. I need to slow down a little bit.
Yeah. So how I measure success? I was going to wrap this up like 5 minutes ago. How I measure success, because I keep hearing your phone going off. So I measure success by how much time and freedom do you have with that time. Not am I so busy that I only have an hour during the day, but how many hours during the day do I have to work? That's success to me.
Yeah. I'm 34. My goal is to get to about $50 million. That's my goal, and then lend it. That's really what I'm working toward, is getting to a point where I can make, $30,000 a day or 20, 30, 40,000 a day lending, something like that. Then I can do, but I enjoy it. So I'm in a weird spot there where I really enjoy, real estate. So you ever heard that phrase, you're not really working, when you're doing what you love?
When I was 34, I started real estate.
Yeah.
I'm 46 now. So I've been in it 12 years, maybe a little bit more. No, I've been in it 14 years. I started in 2007, so maybe I was 32. But man, I didn't miss, like, anybody was throwing a party, anybody was putting together a networking event. I was at every single one. I was trying to mix and mingle with everybody. In my time, it's the same players. It was just me and Brant. We were the 2 single family come-ups. Now you look at it and you got like, I don't know, there's probably 40 guys that are doing the kind of the bandwidth we were doing. There's some good people out there that are really doing a lot of work, and they're doing it way differently than I did. They're doing the wholesaling, and they're doing the flipping, and they're doing the lending, and they're buying and holding.
That's what I'm doing.
Yeah. And, and now I'm looking and I'm going, what the hell happened to me? Like, where did I stop? And I did. I stopped along the way. And now I'm, trying to restart that engine again. And it's like, it takes a long time to start an old engine. Because I want to get, I'm real good face to face with sellers. I'm real good. But it's like, do I want to answer the phone? Do I want to do this? And so now it's like, now I got to automate. Now I got to pay. Now I got to do, so I don't know. Yeah, I wish I don't. That's another piece of advice. There's my piece of advice for you. Here's my real talk.
Okay.
Don't let the fire go down. You have plenty of time. Yeah, you're 34. Yeah. But you do need to get out on the boat. If it's not today, then make it before the end of this weekend that you just get out on the boat with the kids and just drive around for a second. Maybe pull them in a tube or something. Man, it's so important. Being out on the boat, I don't think people understand why you live on the water. I was born in Texas City.
Yeah, I remember you telling me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My whole life was out there, but my fiance hates Lake Conroe. Hates it. Like, she doesn't want to be there, but she does. She goes. Mm-hmm. But we have so many memories out there just being on the boat and jumping in the water. And I don't know. We love it. It's so good.
Yeah.
And playing tennis together. That's another thing. Did you and Maggie do anything as a couple together?
I wouldn't say nothing like that, no.
No, like, yeah, man. I don't know. Pick up something. Whether it's dancing or cooking class. I'm going to invite you. Burr and I.
Yeah, I'd love to go.
Burr and I, we did this cooking class
I saw
thing.
that.
Yeah.
Looked like a lot of fun.
Oh, bro,
Man.
I'm calling you.
Yeah,
you and Maggie
Yeah.
need to come out there. You're such a boy. You're so fun. You would have a great time. Yeah. We had everybody, all the other people. We didn't even know who they were, but we had everybody laughing. It was so much fun.
Brian's a lot of, but y'all got a lot good. Y'all are fun.
It was a good time. It's a good time. So yeah, man, you need to come to that. But there's some, Kendra and I try to play tennis against each other once a week. So she whips my ass. Okay. But I'm pretty good.
Yeah.
Like I'm pretty good. But she used to play for like 5 or 6 years. She used to play. Yeah, so we just make it a point to do something competitive with each other. And then we also took a West Coast swing class. We were trying to get that first dance.
Oh, nice.
You know, during the wedding.
Yes.
Yeah, trying to get that all coordinated. I gotta do something for Facebook. I mean, it's interesting, but yeah. Well, everybody, thank you so much. Thanks to the man James Toler. Let's all give him a round of applause. All right, there you go.
Thank you.
Thank you, Facebook, or YouTube, or whoever. Podbean. My Podbean class. Thank you to Total Wealth Academy for putting together this studio. And we'll catch you guys next week.
Thank you.
Oh my gosh. It's supposed to have stopped. And why is it not stopping? Okay. I've never not been able to stop this thing.